Good day, everyone. I will be explaining on how to analyze business transactions. And to my sister who is watching this, watch and learn on how to analyze your own business transactions so you can keep in track of your cash flow. This is Larah Faye Laxamana, and I will be the guide for your transactions. Keep on watching and listening so that you can learn something. The objective of this video is to analyze business transaction and its effects to the elements of financial statements, and to understand the concept of increase or decrease in an account. And lastly, to analyze the effects of business transactions to the accounting equation. Always remember the accounting equation. Assets is equal to liabilities and capital or owner's equity. This is the suggested procedure on how you should analyze business transactions. First, identify the elements affected. Then classify the accounts affected. And then determine the amount of increase or decrease for each account affected. And lastly, make sure the accounting equation remains in balance. Now, I will show you 5 sample problems to be the basis of your guide to your own transactions. Note, transactions are to be analyzed from the point of view of the business. For the first example, Mr. Haruto Kim started his own business by investing 350,000 pesos in cash. The accounts affected in this transaction are cash and capital. Cash is obviously affected because Mr. Kim invested with cash, while the capital is affected because investment is part of the capital. Now, let's determine the effect of the transaction. There will be no effect when it comes to liabilities. And since the business receives a cash, it means asset will increase. The capital will also increase because the amount received by the business represents the investment of the owner. We can now see that the accounting equation is now balanced. Let us now move on to our next example. Mr. Kim purchased office equipment with 50,000 pesos on account. The accounts affected in this transaction are office, equipment, and accounts payable. Office equipment is part of the asset while the accounts payable is part of the liabilities. So, there will be no effect when it comes to owner's equity. Since the business gained some office equipment, this means that the asset will increase. And since the business had a debt in purchasing the equipment, this means that the liabilities will also increase. That's it for this second example. Purchase for cash office supplies worth 3,000 pesos. The element affected on this transaction is asset only. Office supplies and cash are all under the element of asset. Since office supplies were purchased by the business, its asset will increase. There you go. And since the office supplies were purchased with cash, it will have an effect of decreasing in cash. There you go. And now, let us move on to our next example. Payment of office rental for the month worth 8,000 pesos. The specific accounts that are affected in this transaction are rent expense and cash. In this transaction, it has no effect when it comes to liabilities. The cash will decrease because it was stated that office rental was paid with cash. There you go. And equity will also decrease because there was a net loss. And that's it for the fourth example. And for the next example, withdrawal of cash by Mr. Haruto Kim for his personal use worth 10,000 pesos. The accounts affected on this transaction are cash and capital, just like from the first example. Since the account affected on this transaction are cash and capital, it will not have any effect when it comes to liabilities. There will be a decrease in cash in this transaction because Mr. Kim withdrew a cash for his personal use, and there will also be a decrease in owner's equity because Mr. Kim did a withdrawal of cash from the cash he invested earlier. We can now analyze that the transaction for this event is now balanced on accounting equation. And that's it for the last example for this tutorial. And I hope you guys learned something, especially to my sister to whom I dedicated to this video. Once again, thank you for watching and have a nice day. I hope you learned something. Thank you.